President-elect Joe Biden is speeding ahead with transition plans. I'm Natalie Brand in Wilmington, Delaware, with what Biden said about President Trump's refusal to concede.
What you need to know about the opening for spring enrollment at Joplin schools.
A student at Northeast Vernon County School shares what Veterans Day means to her and why it's so personal. I'm Kate Kelly with her story just ahead.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
As President-elect Joe Biden makes plans for his administration, President Trump is pushing ahead with legal challenges to the election results. Natalie Brand reports from Wilmington, Delaware.
President-elect Joe Biden says President Trump's refusal to concede is not slowing down his transition plans.
The fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do between now and January 20th.
President Trump has yet to accept defeat as his legal team pursues claims of voter fraud.
I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly. How can I say this tactfully? I think it will not help the president's legacy.
Vice President Mike Pence met with Republican senators on Capitol Hill Tuesday. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there's time to investigate the president's allegations before the election is certified.
I don't think we're going to have an interrupted transition to whoever is the next administration. I think we ought to quit all the hand-wringing and not act like this is extraordinary.
Here in Wilmington, Delaware, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris turned their attention Tuesday to the latest challenge to the Affordable Care Act, now before the Supreme Court.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back!
Justices heard oral arguments on the constitutionality of the landmark health care law. Based on their questions, a majority of the justices gave hints to suggest the ACA should not be struck down in its entirety.
See this case for what it is. A blatant attempt to overturn the will of the people.
Senator Harris said she and Biden ran on a promise to keep the law in place. The High Court is expected to issue a ruling sometime in the spring. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
World leaders continue to congratulate Biden on his win. Today, the president-elect spoke with the French President Emmanuel Macron, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Jacob Leonard joins us now with a first look at the weather on this kind of chilly night.
It's a chilly night, but man, when I got up this morning, it was near 70 degrees. Yes. It was nice and warm. I walked my kid to school in shorts and a t-shirt, and then that front rolled in. Cooler temperatures brought the rain, and it turned around rather quickly. Right now, temperatures, most of us sitting in the mid to upper 30s. 33 in Pittsburgh, 36 in Chautauqua, 37 right now in Webb City. Skywatch storm tracker for us. Wasn't the case earlier today, but right now, it is pretty clear. You can see that front that gave us that precipitation working its way east out of Missouri. Here's a look at your day planner real quick for tomorrow. About 31 degrees. It's still going to be chilly when you get out of bed. 53 by noon. We're looking at highs near 60 tomorrow. And we do have some rain chances working back in on Friday, maybe into Saturday. We're going to take a look at those rain chances, look at the full week ahead here in just a few minutes, Dow.
All right, we'll catch you then. The Jasper County Health Department reports 2 more COVID-19 deaths. The patients were both men. One was in his 70s, the other in his 80s. The 2 deaths bring the county's total to 64. The city of Joplin is also reporting 2 more COVID-19 deaths, bringing the city's total to 42. The patients were both men, 80 and 97 years old. COVID-19 cases continue to climb in parts of the 4 states. Jasper County reports 355 active COVID-19 cases. Joplin reports 293. In Crawford County, health officials report 209 active cases, 104 in Cherokee County, and in Ottawa County, Oklahoma, there are 136 active cases. Statewide, Kansas has reported another record 7-day spike in COVID-19 cases. The state health department yesterday added 5,920 new confirmed and probable cases. The state averaged 2,047 new cases per day for the 7 days ending yesterday. That brings the state's total to 103,553 since the pandemic began. Governor Laura Kelly's staff, legislative leaders, and local officials launched discussions about encouraging mask use before last week's elections. There's still resistance to mask mandates from many local officials and the state's legislature. The COVID tracking project says Missouri has seen a 12.9% increase in COVID-19 cases over the past 7 days. Joplin has had 548 new cases in the last 14 days. Joplin Health Department officials say as cases continue to climb, they're finding it harder to contact trace and to quickly notify contacts. They're trying to reduce a backlog of cases.
The way that channel works, the laboratory runs the test. They will then notify the patient at the same time, and an electronic report goes up to the state of Missouri lab, and then it pings it back down at the local health department level. We have to receive it, log it in, make the actual calls.
The health department is asking anyone who tests positive to stay home and for everyone to continue practicing safety measures. We're going to have the latest on a surge of COVID-19 numbers across the country a little bit later in this newscast. The Joplin School District has started the process for spring enrollment for virtual and in-person classes. Parents will be able to go online and register for either option for the spring semester, which starts in January. Officials say students who are enrolled in virtual classes now and wanting to remain virtual will need to re-enroll for that option. According to the district, 300 of the 1,400 students enrolled for virtual learning now have re-enrolled for next spring.
So really we have to wait and see what those enrollment numbers do. If our virtual enrollment spikes, we're going to have to make sure we support that appropriately. If we have a lot of students who want to come back, we're going to have to make sure that we support the classroom appropriately too.
Wangi says virtual learning is something the district will continue to offer even after COVID. We put a link to the enrollment form on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. In tonight's KOAM News Now Instapoll, we're asking what education changes do you expect for the students in your household next semester? Your options are more online learning, more in-person learning, or no changes. As you see at this point, the number's fairly close between the three. You can vote in our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on mobile devices. The results update instantly, and we're going to check back in on the results a little bit later in this newscast. Voters in Ottawa County elected 2 new leaders. David Dean was elected as the new sheriff, and Stephen Chasteen was elected District 2 Commissioner. As the new sheriff, Dean hopes to increase the number of deputies on the streets and get the jail back on track and secure. Over the last 2 years, there's been a fire at the jail, a riot, an escape, a COVID outbreak, and concerns with the budget.
I'm ready to just get in there and see what I got and go from there. I know that it's going to be tight. Counties are broke. County sheriffs are broke. Jails everywhere aren't in the greatest shape, but everybody seems to be able to work it.
Dean and Chasteen will take office in January. We have more from both new county leaders on our website. Again, KOAMnewsnow.com. Still ahead, a Southwest Missouri school goes virtual to honor our nation's veterans. We'll tell you why Veterans Day is personal for one of those students and her family. And later, the Neosho soccer team fights for a spot in the state tournament Final Four. We'll have the highlights from their matchup with Glendale. COVID-19 is changing the way many veteran events are being held this year. Students at Northeast Vernon County School came up with a new, safe way to show their appreciation for our nation's heroes, recording digital thank yous. Students also performed research on Veterans Day, putting together a special program they've shared online. It's not their usual big ceremony, but this display is important for these patriotic kids. One of those virtual thank yous comes from a 7th grader, Angel Burnside. KOAM's Kate Kelly shares what Veterans Day and sacrifice means to her and why.
I thank all the veterans who risk their lives, not just for mine, but for the whole USA. And I want to thank my dad, Antonio Carlos Burnside.
A personal thank you from daughter to father in honor of Army Corporal Burnside, who was killed in action when insurgents attacked his unit in Afghanistan.
He died at the age of 31, had 4 kids. One of them were me.
Angel's memories of her father come from the stories her mother shares. She was just a little girl when it happened, but even then, her ties to her dad went deeper than most would understand. She says she knew the moment he was gone.
Before the men can even go to my mom, I started crying, and my aunt called my mom saying, "Angel's crying, do you know why?" And I said, "My daddy died." And when they got there, my mom's like, "Oh, my little girl already told me."
It's been hard growing up without him. She leans on her siblings and her mom when it feels overwhelming.
She just says, "Just keep him in your heart forever."
That's just what she intends to do. She's proud of her classmates for stepping up to say thank you to the brave soldiers like her dad.
I would like to thank veterans for allowing me to live a peaceful life.
I would like to thank veterans for keeping us safe.
Angel says she wants people to know that our soldiers are people just like us. They're sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. They just happen to be heroes, too.
Veterans are very, very brave for fighting for us and for our freedom.
In Walker, Missouri, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
The students' thank yous will play in their 8th hour classes tomorrow. We're also going to be airing them in the morning right here on KOAM. Take time now to honor another local veteran, Private John Frazier. The Miami, Oklahoma native served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to salute Private John Frazier. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Jacob Leonard's up next with the complete forecast.
Well, what started out as a warm morning quickly turned into a cloudy, rainy, and much colder day. Taking a look now at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort time lapse, you could see front came in early this morning, cleared out by the time we made it through the afternoon. And it turned out to be pretty clear, but again, just cold. Taking a look at temperature right now in downtown Joplin, we're looking at 37 degrees and north wind. Not much to speak of, 5 miles per hour, humidity creeping up right now at 86%. The temperatures across the Joplin Metro, pretty consistent. 37 in Carthage, same thing in Webb City, 36 right now in Carl Junction. Now, we did hit a high today much earlier than we normally do. We did it this morning at about 70 degrees. Now, we did cool off throughout most of the day, but we're still high of 70 degrees. It's higher than our average of 62 degrees we normally see on November 10th. Taking a look at temperatures now across the area, 35 in Lamar, 33 in Pittsburgh, a little cooler, 31 in Iola, 31 in Yates Center, 34 right there in Independence. Now these temperatures that we're seeing right now, look at this, much colder than what we saw 24 hours ago. Most of the area about 30 degrees cooler right now than what we saw yesterday, 34 degree difference 24 hours ago in Girard, 37 degree difference in Chanute. The Skywatch Storm Tracker here, not a lot going on right now, pretty clear for the most part. Now you see that front that did cool us off and bring us some precipitation throughout the day. That front pretty much went from the top of the viewing area all the way to the bottom, but now it is moving its way out and east of the state of Missouri. Now rain amounts, most of us saw on average about 3/10 of an inch. Now you do see some of these green areas here. Those areas saw 1/2 an inch, and there were some isolated areas that I saw maybe even a little more than that. Future track for you when you get up in the morning. It's still going to be pretty chilly. It can be 29, 30 degrees as we work our way through the rest of the day. We'll top out around 60 degrees. Now Thursday, kind of the same story. It's going to be just slightly warmer on Thursday when you get out of bed, upper 30s, and then we'll top out somewhere around 63, 64 degrees for highs tomorrow. But quick look at what you're working with tomorrow. 54 by noon. Top out around 60, 62 degrees for most of us across the area. We're going to be dry the next 2 days. We do have some rain chances moving in on Friday. Those rain chances can stick around into Friday, Friday into Saturday, excuse me. 63 for temperatures over the weekend. Now we're going to be dry to start next week, but you do see those temperatures a little cooler to start next week.
Yeah, a little cooler, but not too bad overall. People know that you are a very, very versatile guy. You all obviously handle the weather duties well, and you also have some sports to tell us about.
We do. The Neosho Wildcats, they're back in the Class 3 state soccer quarterfinals. Now, over the weekend, they shut out Bolivar 5-0 in the sectional round for their 16th consecutive win. Now, Neosho right back at it tonight. Wildcats facing Glendale with the winner advancing to the Final Four. This in the first half. Glendale gets the first goal after the penalty. Falcons go to half up 1-0. The second half, Glendale adds another. Biak Leon sneaks behind the defense and scores. That one there pushes the lead to 2. And Neosho not going away quietly. Later, Vance Montgomery gets the Cats on the board with the goal here. However, that one there, all they got tonight. Neosho falls 3-1. It's Glendale moving on to the state semifinals.
Really just in debt to that senior class, and probably a debt, I don't know if we'll ever be able to repay. They just gave us so much, 4 state district championships, sectional wins, quarterfinals wins, trip to the state playoffs.
Neosho is 19-1 coming into the night. They finished the season with a 19-2 overall record. Glendale, of course, moving on to the semifinals. Dow.
Still ahead, U.S. health experts warn of trouble ahead as COVID-19 cases surge in parts of the country. And we'll look at a UK study that shows the impact that distance learning is having on students across the pond. Hospitalizations from the coronavirus are close to record highs in the U.S. With cases on the rise in 46 states, experts warn the worst is yet to come. Tanya Bacchus reports.
The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says he expects Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine to go through the FDA's emergency authorization process in the next week and a half.
By the time we get into December, we'll be able to have doses available for people who are judged to be at the highest priority.
Over 1 million Americans have tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 10 days, making it the worst stretch of infections to date.
The nation is in a precarious place right now in this pandemic.
A surge of cases in Des Moines, Iowa has put hospitals at capacity for the first time ever and close to capacity statewide. In Maryland, State Governor Larry Hogan is reducing indoor capacity at bars and restaurants from 75 to 50% effective Wednesday.
Primary goals continue to be keeping our hospitals from overflowing and stopping more Marylanders from dying.
Here in Los Angeles, walk-up COVID-19 testing sites are popping up across the city. State officials blame private household gatherings for the recent spike in cases. Halloween festivities are also suspected.
We haven't been, exposed to a lot of people, but still, it's just for safety.
On the treatment front, the FDA has given emergency approval to Eli Lilly for the first antibody treatment for COVID patients who have mild to moderate symptoms.
It works by attaching to the virus and blocking its entry into cells, and also possibly by helping the person's immune system clear the virus. The data we have suggests that early treatment may help people avoid disease progression and avoid hospitalization.
Safety testing for the drug is ongoing. Tanya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The U.S. government will start distributing 300,000 doses of the new antibody drug tomorrow. In the UK, a government education standards body found that school closures and restricted movement has caused children to regress in basic learning skills. According to the report, some children without good support structures have lost some key skills in math, reading, and writing, and some have even forgotten how to use a knife and fork. Some older children have lost physical fitness and are displaying signs of mental distress with an increase in self-harm and eating disorders. And some previously potty-trained younger children have lapsed back into using diapers as their parents have been unable to work flexibly and are therefore spending less time together. UK's Chief Education Inspector praised the decision to keep schools open during England's second national lockdown, not just in terms of education, but in all the ways they impact on the lives of young people. However, an increasing number of parents in the UK are still choosing to homeschool their children. Apple unveiled a new MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and Mac Mini powered for the first time by processors developed in-house. The new, faster, more powerful chip is called M1. It's part of the in-house Apple Silicon chip family that'll power a new line of Macs to be rolled out over the next few years. Apple was using Intel chips for its MacBooks. Apple already uses its in-house chips in the iPhone and iPad. Bringing that capability to its Mac lineup is aimed at giving Apple more control over updates and user experience and allow apps to work more seamlessly between the devices. The new MacBook Air starts at $999. The 13-inch MacBook Pro begins at $1,299, and the Mac Mini starts at $699. Today's One More Thing event at its headquarters was the company's third product unveiling event this year. Final check on our poll and the weather up next. National parks are saluting our nation's veterans and Gold Star families with free access to many of our landmarks. Veterans Day is tomorrow, and that's when the Department of Interior says entrance fees for national parks will be permanently waived for veterans and Gold Star families. Those are military families who lost a loved one in service to this country. They'll no longer have to pay to visit a national park. The department already waives fees for active duty military service members. Getting a final look at tonight's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Again, we've been asking, what education changes do you expect for the students in your household next semester? At this point, 41% say more online learning, 31% say more in-person learning. The rest, 28%, say no changes. The poll is now closed. Thanks for participating. Let's check back in with Jacob Leonard now for a final look at the weather.
We got some good news. The sun is back tomorrow. It's going to be about 60 degrees, and we will see some sun. We're really dry the next couple days, but we do have some rain chances late Friday that could work into Saturday as well. Pretty nice temperatures for the weekend, but we cool off. Highs in the mid-50s early next week.
All right, thanks, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.